Awesome. Well, hey everybody. Nice to virtually have you guys here to our customer appreciation event. This is kind of unique for us to have to do this virtually and online, but some benefits that have come from it. We literally do have representation from coast to coast, which normally we end up with a really tight Ontario crew and a really tight BC crew. And so it's great to be able to kind of share this knowledge and experience with the balance of the country. So that part is super fun. We do have a chock full day. Elaine and Sarah and Caitlin and the balance of the team have just been doing a phenomenal job in trying to organize today. So we have breakout rooms with many of our vendors, as well as we have a live auction that is starting at 2:30. So, if anybody is missing those links, please say so in the chat, and we'll be happy to share those. We thought it would be fun today to start with a panelist of industry experts, as well as some salon owners from across the country, and kind of give an opportunity to do a question and answer, excuse me, and a little discussion with them. At the same time, just get a little bit of a sense and temperature of what's going on across the country and across the US. So a couple brief introductions. First of all, I'm Nick. I'm the president here at Uvelux, and it's my absolute pleasure and honor to be here. With us today, we also have Elaine and Sarah from Uvelux. Both of them are very gladly waving hi. Steve is here from the JCTA. Steve, do you want to do a real quick brief intro?
Yeah, I'm the executive director of the Joint Canadian Tanning Association, and we've been working hard to try and get people open, but it's been tough, and I know we've been trying to make sure that everybody's updated with any information about what's going on with the governments. So hopefully that's helped you out. Any questions? I've got a breakout room. We're going to be talking about governments, insurance, reopening plans, subsidies, grants, loans, for everything for the government.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve. Valerie's here from Sunless Inc. Valerie, you want to say hi in a couple quick words?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. I wish we could see you. I wish we could hear you. I wish we could be in person if I'm wishing for things. I'm here from Cleveland, Ohio, joining today from Sunless Inc. headquarters, Mystic Tannin versus Spa. Definitely excited to hear any questions you have or kind of what's going on in the industry, and share any knowledge that I can with all the attendees, almost 100 attendees. So yeah. Thanks for having
99,
me.
waiting for one more.
Yeah.
Perfect. Maggie's here from Sun Evolutions. Maggie, why don't you say hi in a couple of quick words?
Hi, I'm Maggie Curran with Sun Evolutions and Hemps. I'm the National Sales Director and Director of Brand Development, and we are excited to be back to work and back open. And I know you guys are getting close, and we can't wait for that too. So I'm here to talk about what's happening here in the States, and hopefully everything's moving in a positive direction, and we're really, really excited.
Perfect. Thank you.
And that's about it. And my only background will probably be a cat that walks by.
One of many.
One of many.
Yeah. Brendan, why don't you go next?
Brendan McCarthy from JW North America. We make Cosmetico, Wolf, and the brand new blush lamp for Uvelux, privately made for them. Excited to be here, back in Canada, kinda. My favorite place in the world. I should have been born Canadian, but virtually in Canada is good enough for right now, I guess. Yeah, just here to catch up with everybody, introduce a new product, and kind of update everybody what's going on here and what we're seeing across not only the North America, but also over in Europe too, what they're going through as well.
Very, very cool. Thanks, Brendan. And last and certainly not least, Mr. Jason.
Well, hi guys, I'm Jason Brooks, Director of Sales with New Sunshine Brands, coming to you from down here in Indianapolis, Indiana, where New Sunshine Australian Gold is based. Very, very happy to be here today, and especially to thank the team at Uvelux, because I know you guys have really been carrying the torch on digital training and keeping the salons engaged during this past year, but incredibly excited to hear of the good news coming in the next few weeks. So hopefully we're here to jazz you up and get you pumped up like we're seeing, like they said, in North America and in Europe as things have started to reopen.
Perfect. And then we do have a couple salon owners from across the country joining us today. Mike, why don't you go first? kind of put you a little on the spot. By the way, how's your coffee?
It's amazing. And I'm trying not to drink it on camera too much, to be honest with you. But so my name's Mike Naffick, Soul Exotica Tanning Spa. We have salons in Toronto, Aurora, Burlington, Hamilton, Stony Creek. We've been doing this since 1996. So we've been at it for a while and we've seen some ups and downs. So I'm hoping I can contribute. And thanks, Nick and Elaine, for asking me to be part of the panel.
No, I appreciate you jumping in last minute. So Lisa, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Lisa Byers from BC. Been in the business since 94, so kind of going on 27 years. Definitely the same as Mike. Have had our ups and downs with the economy, things like a little pandemic that was going on. Made some changes, kind of pivoted and went, and really excited to be here. Can't wait to share.
Yeah, excited to have you here. And last, but certainly again, not least, is Rachel.
I'm Rachel. I own Bronzebacks Tanning Studios. I think actually the name is still incorporated as Bronzebacks Tanning Studio because there was only ever going to be one when I was 24. But it is studios. I just opened my 6th store 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Just hanging on, and thank God for Uvulux. I don't know what I'd do without you guys through this time, but yeah, happy to be here. If I can help anyway, happy to do that.
Where are you? Sorry, what province are you in?
Oh, I'm in Calgary, Alberta.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, some days. Yeah, more days.
Well, it looks beautiful and sunny today, Rachel.
Yeah.
So soak it in, soak it in. So again, I've got kind of a list of questions and kind of spark and promote some discussion, but anybody who's listening online, feel free to drop questions in the question and answer period. And between, we'll either raise them to the balance of the panel, or I think Sarah is online answering those questions as they pop up. So I'm going to start with Maggie. Maggie, what changes have you recently seen in the U.S. market, and how has that affected the manufacturer supply chain?
Oh boy, where do I start? Well, we'll start with the positive first, which is the changes in the market. No one really knew what to expect once we opened back up, but it has been phenomenal. We talk to salons, probably a dozen or so every day, and we are hearing over and over that foot traffic is way up. They're saying they're up anywhere from 20 to 40% over 2019 numbers, which is fabulous. And the best news of all is the people are wanting to spend money. I don't know if they were, stimulus money, if they saved a lot of money staying home all of 2020, but they're dying to get back out there and spend money. So that is a definite positive as well. One thing overall, not just our industry, is just the self-care category itself has exploded. So like from the hemp side, moisturizers, body washes, scrubs, all of that, the sales are through the roof. And so if you're not carrying those kind of products, you definitely should, because people are really in the mode of, they want to pamper themselves, they want to take care of themselves. They let themselves go. I know I did for a year in quarantine. So they're ready to get out there and get tan and moisturized and look good again. So you definitely don't want to lose out on those opportunities. The bad news is that there's also massive back orders happening. Obviously, it's a good problem to run out because you've sold it all, but it doesn't help you when you're trying to sell it to your customers. Again, it's not just an industry thing, it's really a global thing. The whole supply chain is really broken and strained, and it's going to get back to normal, but right now everything is just taking a lot longer. So getting bottles manufactured, getting shipping containers, you name it. On a personal level for us, we have COVID restrictions, of course. Our manufacturing facility is in California, which has some of the strictest policies in the country. So number of shifts are limited. And so everything just is taking longer. And then you add to that, not knowing what was going to happen this year. So you didn't want to get stuck with a ton of inventory. So you forecast low and then rut-row, and now you're out of everything. And it takes twice as long to get it back in stock. But we're all working really hard. I know that's a problem. In every industry, really, you hear about it. You know, lumber, automobiles, everyone is struggling to catch up. And I think it'll even out soon, but in the meantime, you know, it just requires a little bit of patience and a little bit of kindness and understanding, because everyone's trying really hard to get back to normal. So,
yeah, the patience we certainly see as a necessity in almost any industry. And for anybody in Canada, not on the US side, they actually canceled Amazon Prime Days up here, you know, for challenges in timing and challenges in COVID restrictions and so on and so forth. So everybody looking forward to a couple good deals. You just have to come here, I guess. So nothing wrong with that either. So
exactly.
Thank you so much, Maggie. Hey, Jason, I got two questions. One, have you seen kind of similar trends in the US market as far as foot traffic and so on and so forth? But I also want to kind of focus a little bit on online training and kind of the evolution that you've seen in salon owners and being able to share your message online.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just piggyback what Maggie was saying just about foot traffic and overall what we're seeing in the United States and also in Europe as they reopened in April, a little bit after most of the US. But I mean, it just completely blew up overnight from when Texas and Florida dropped their mask mandates. And then a week later, the stimulus checks came out. It just, since then, none of us have been able to catch our breath, but it has been booming. And Maggie was saying this too about the self-care industry. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm feeling down, the best way to pick myself up is to spend some money. And the nice part too, it's instant gratification. So I'm bored with it by next week and I've got to buy another Tecton product or whatever it might be. So things are booming. And also what I love, I should say, I think things like what we've all been going through this past year, we can all get sucked into a cycle of just getting kind of caught up in some stuff. And then all of a sudden it just takes something like this to kind of reset us and realize that I'm not gonna be here forever. Might as well do, what makes you feel good, what I believe in, what I feel like I need, rather than what someone tells me I need. So I think a lot of people are getting back into taking care of themselves and doing what makes them feel happy, in which the salon is a great place to get back to do that. So we've just seen that business really take off. And not to mention, I was talking to Elaine about this the other day, tan lines. I mean, nobody likes tan lines, and my neighbors would certainly not want to see me out in the buff without my swimsuit. So the good news is we're going to have a strong season. June is still going very strong here in the US. We suspect it will continue to go on through the rest of summer. But then the nice part too is as events are getting rescheduled, we saw that first full capacity concert, Madison Square Garden with the Foo Fighters. As that stuff keeps going on, Sunless will get into increase in traffic. The events will be planned. So I think we've got a lot of work ahead of us, not just in the supply chain, but I think over the next year, we are going to continue to see this influx of returning customers, new customers, and just an ever-growing business. We just attended a really phenomenal event at a distributor here in the United States that had a lot of new salon owners in the past year, but then also too, just this new reinstated energy and excitement in their business that I've not seen in my short time here with New Sunshine in 6 years. So very excited about all that. And then to talk about online training, obviously it's been taking off. It's been a huge trend in all industries, not just ours. We love getting to be there in person, but we know what it's like. It's not just our industry that's dealing with turnover. It's every industry. And we love getting to come in and train in January or February, but we all know there's turnover by March and you have new team members. So with this shift in more of the e-learning, not just because of the pandemic, you're able to have access to continuous training tools and resources for all of your team members all year long. Not to mention too, we're able to reach all parts of Canada, United States, the world at one time, rather than burning at both ends, trying to see everyone at once. So that's been really great. Not to mention, again, just Jess, Jordan, the team, they've been really phenomenal at creating new tools. I know Sarah's been helping out too. It's a new topic. So you can explore so much more. And then the nice part too, if you're working by yourself, you can hit pause and pick back up on it later. So we're definitely loving the shift. Now, I will say nothing does replace the in-person. So we're definitely looking forward to getting back to the trade shows, visiting with Uvalux and seeing you guys there, because again, just like every industry, the education must continue, especially as we have new energy coming into this market. So overall, I mean, the last year has been awful. I know it's been even more extended for our friends in Canada, but there's good things on the other side and it's coming your way very soon.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Jason. It's funny, you talked about Sunless, and I forgot to introduce one of our guys on here, but Jacob is here originally from Norvell. Jacob, do you want to say hi for a quick sec, and then I got a quick question for you. Is Jacob not here? Maybe. Oh no, Jacob's running late. My apologies. Elaine's gonna be busy texting me right now. We'll come back to Jacob if and when he comes online. So on to Steve. I hear there's a couple. There's a new program that the JCTA has been working on to save salon owners some money on insurance. Steve, do you want to take a few minutes and talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We started to see about 3 or 4 years ago that insurance was getting tougher, more expensive, having more restrictions. So we hunted through and looked for a new insurance company or a broker. And we found one out of Calgary, spent a year in 2019 creating the insurance program so that they had much better coverage. And what we're seeing is on average about a 26% savings for less restrictions. We've got spray booth coverage. Some of the insurance wasn't covering that anymore, depending if you had water connected to it. Replacement cost instead of a depreciated cost on your older equipment, anything more than 5 years old. So we've created that. And I'm looking forward to talking to everybody about the program, as well as what we can do for reopening plans for the provinces, as well as government subsidies, grants, and loans on the breakout meeting.
Perfect. Appreciate that, Steve. I know you've been spending a lot of time on that, as well as sharing as much information as possible with salon owners on what rebates and what government grants and so on and so forth are available for salon. So if we can't be making money, let's see what we can do to be saving money where and when we can. So thank you for all your hard work with that.
Thanks.
All right, we'll go back to Sunless. Val, one of the segments that took the biggest hit in during the pandemic was Sunless. What has Sunless Inc. launched to help salon owners support and generate some revenue, and what are some recommendations you might be able to pass along?
Absolutely, great question. So yes, the pandemic has definitely caused sunless tanning as a service to take a big hit. And some of the reasons we've found behind that is because sunless tanning, spray tanning, is still largely event driven, right? So we found through our consumer research, the biggest reasons or events people spray tan for is vacations, number one. Weddings is number two. So with vacations on pause, weddings on pause, or being delayed, we found our business in 2020 down about 40%. So that's kind of good news, bad news. I looked at it as, hey, that's great. That means 60% of our tanners are what I would call lifestyle tanners, right? Like me. The COVID pandemic shutdown didn't stop me. I know I'm in a different case, but I would still come to the office once a week to spray tan. That I still need my tan. And we found that about 60% of sunless tanners, the lifestyle tanners, weren't going to let anything interfere with their weekly tan either. So we did see an uptick, as others have said, in the self tan products, in the at home tanning products. So we did what I'll circle back to that, but what we found is we helped salon owners launch some curbside pickup. Were the ones that we saw being very successful with their limited capacity or limited hours or closing, was offering some retail products online or offering, just a pull-up service. And that really, so we saw, while solution sales may have dipped a bit, the retail products saw a huge spike. So that tells us that the demand for sunless tanning did not diminish. So circling back to, yes, we are seeing, as everybody said, there's good, we know our friends in Canada have been hit so hard, and it's so unfair. And the way you work to overcome everything and stay positive through this is truly inspiring. Like Jason said, good things are coming your way. They're coming. California just reopened on the 15th, but largely in the United States, we have seen events are bouncing back. People have gotten their vaccines. People aren't wearing masks anymore. And we've been wearing masks. It's just become part of our outfit, right? We match our mask to our outfit. That's weird. And you start to think, like, oh man, how am I going to transition to not wearing a mask anymore? But honestly, it's nice. It's really easy. We were at our first event in Phoenix, Arizona, a couple of weeks ago on a resort, and there's just what I found here in the States is there's such a huge pent up demand for human interaction that everybody was just so happy just to be out. We were getting people just saying like, oh my gosh, I can see your teeth. I'm just so happy to see teeth again. I mean, like you said, it reminds you to be so grateful and thankful for those little things that we take for granted so often. So we are seeing in the marketplace in general, events are coming back. Normalcy is coming back. People are tanning again. We are tracking, someone mentioned 2019 numbers. We are tracking very closely now, whereas I said in 2020, we were seeing a consistent 40% decrease from prior year. We're seeing it right in line with 2019 numbers, which is great news for us, for our industry. Also, what we're seeing here in the States, not only is season coming back and coming back strong, but a lot of people are seeing that the season is extending beyond what we would normally see to be season. And we're expecting increased demand through the remainder of the year because of all of these events coming back, weddings that were postponed, all of these things. So we do expect an extended season and a greater demand for sunless tanning through the end of the year. Somebody mentioned supply chain. So you asked, what is Sunless Inc. doing? So Maggie hit the nail on the head with all the supply chain issues, right? It's hit so many industries between the lumber, automobiles, chip shortages, lots of shortages, right? Because we didn't know what to expect. We can't track, there's nothing to baseline your forecast off of during a pandemic. And DHA was not excluded from that. There was a huge, a big supply chain issue, DHA shortage. So your friends here in Cleveland at Sunless Inc., we worked very diligently to just lock down agreements with our suppliers to air freight in DHA. Lots of things that we did, just working around the clock to make sure that we did not cause any further interruption in your supply chain, because here at Sunless Inc., that's all we do is sunless tanning. We make our equipment, our solution, our retail products, and we work as hard as we can to keep your equipment up and operating in your salons and always making money for you. So that's crossing our fingers. We think we've worked through that and that it's not an issue anymore. And then again, just with the virtual training, we're doing everything we can virtually. I do want to mention now we have 105 participants. If you haven't joined yet, our business development training team is wonderful with shifting to virtual trainings. They've also created what's called, if you're on Facebook, our Sunless Inc. business development page, where Jacob, whenever he decides to join, I'm just kidding, I know he's traveling. Jacob will join. Jacob is part of that Sunless Inc. business development team. Alicia Peak, Lauren Hall, Brandon Cardinal, Ivy Potter. They're always putting great content on that page, sharing ideas for what we've seen working for other salons. And once a month, they started having what they call their Wine Down Wednesday. You grab wine or your favorite cocktail and just kind of have a live chat, because we do want to share those best practices with everybody. We're a tight-knit industry and we want to see everybody succeed. So with all that being said, hopefully I answered the question, and I will be in a separate breakout room afterwards if anybody would like to discuss Sunless more in depth.
Hey Val, Nick, would you be able to share that link in the chat with our attendees?
Yes.
The Facebook one you mentioned, that would be great.
Yes, I will do that.
And not to backtrack here, I did have a question come in for Steve, Nick, if you don't mind. Great. So Christina was asking Steve, is the insurance you mentioned good for BC owners also?
The insurance program is for everybody across Canada, other than Newfoundland and the territories.
Perfect. Thank you, Steve.
So you've got full coverage.
Great. Hope that answered your question, Christina. Okay, carry on.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, Val, I think to your point, if I've learned anything over the last, kind of 18, 20 months, however long this feels like it's been, 3 years, 5 years, is the resiliency of our entrepreneurs, the resiliency of our tanning salon owners, and just, doesn't matter if your lockdown was 1 week or going in Toronto, which we're pushing into the hundreds of days at this point. The ability and the resiliency that we have just to pivot and do port-side pickups or be connected with salon owners online and do whatever we can to, stay in business and stay alive. So it's an incredible group of salon owners and partners that we have here, and really proud of everybody. So little reminder, so all of our vendors do have breakout rooms. If you go onto uvelux.com/brunch, all the links and so on will be there, so you to jump into that. But we do have question and answer open, and we do have some time after this as well for question and answer. So if there's anything that's on top of your mind you want to share with the group, feel free to click the button at the bottom of your screen and drop it there, and we'll try to get to you as soon as we can. So we're very fortunate to have a couple great legacy and salon owners along with us. And Mike, I'm going to bug you and start with you first. Based on everything you've seen, what do you think your expectation of the industry is and will be for the next few months?
Well, I can speak for Ontario a little bit. Is we just got news, I believe yesterday, that the travel restrictions are going to start to get lightened up, which is fantastic. And I think it's a sigh of relief for everybody, especially business owners in the personal care industry. Our Toronto locations have been closed since third week in November, completely, not one day open. Other areas, Burlington, Hamilton, these salons have been closed for about 5-6 weeks, I believe. So we're hoping that as these restrictions start to ease, people will get the bug to start crossing the border and traveling a little bit. And with that, I think like one of the other panelists had mentioned is spending. Everybody's got pent up anxiety. They want to go in and treat themselves a little bit, whether that be traveling or whether that just be coming in for a session or a treatment or a sunless, whatever it is that one of the services we offer, we feel they're going to come in. So unfortunately, I think for the summer, I still think it's going to be slower, and we're going to have the traditional slower few months. But I do think we can try to keep sunless busy in our salons, and we can promote that. Some of our locations, particularly Burlington Solution, I'll say it, but they're really good at working their social media, and that's something I think all salons should be doing, especially now as we start to lift restrictions in Ontario and we start to travel more. We need to be very active on social media. We need to keep our customers engaged so that as they start to travel, as they start to want to come in and take care of themselves, like Valerie had said, the ones that want to come in without traveling and just get the sunless or get the tan, we're going to be top of mind for them. So that's what I think the next few months will hold. I still think it'll be slower. I'm hoping it'll pick back up, but I do certainly expect our 20, 21, and 22 season to be the best. And I really feel we're going to pick up a little early. Normally we don't start getting busier till a little bit, like, even November-ish. And I think that's going to start once the kids are dropped off at school, and we have that freedom again to let the kids out of our house, because we're all going a little bananas with that. I think we're going to start to see some uptick in traffic starting second week in September. People are going to start to come in and want to do those services again that they haven't been able to take advantage. And I want everybody to remember, the people that are here with us and everybody in the industry, is that we sell escapism, no matter what it is or what your salon offers. We are the getaway. We're the getaway from work. We're the getaway from the kids, the family. It's a little bit of a break. And so we encourage people to try to turn off their phone. So when people start to remarket, and as we start to come out of this, that's really what I think the focus needs to be. And even if you're not traveling or you're not going away, let's get the message out to our clients that, tired of being cooped up, come on in for a session, come on in, and we have sunshine, even though, you still maybe can't cross the border if you haven't been double vaccinated. So that's the one big thing that I see coming up in the next months. It's still going to be a little slower. I think we need to be very active on social media, and I think we need to gear up for what I think will be an extended and busy season. And just something else, Nick, I want to touch on, if I can, is something that I think everybody should be doing. If you're not already, is EFTs. You need to get your clients on EFTs. So what you can do is, now as we come to open, at least for Ontario, we're hoping July 2nd, we're hoping sooner, we can turn on that faucet come July 1st and start running through those EFTs. And I know Uvelux, you don't have to be part of a franchise system to certainly take advantage of this. Uvelux has a great program. I'm sorry, I forget the name, memberships made simple, whatever it is. I know it's a
You
fantastic program.
nailed it. Yes, that's exactly what it was
Is that
called.
what it? Thank you. I'm sorry. I should have had that prepared, but I didn't. But it's a great program because what it does is it keeps customers top of mind. It keeps the payments flowing for you as a business. So now, from the first day we open in July, even though our traffic may be down and people are still starting to gear up and get ready, we will have that revenue coming into our salon. So that's something. If you haven't already, you should get in touch with somebody at Uvelux. And I'm not pitching their product, but I'm telling you, it's a fantastic product. And it's a great way to stabilize your income, especially, through the slower months. So if you haven't already, I think use this time as we're getting ready to open. Also, is maybe fix up your salon, small things like even a light coat of paint or get some new light fixtures, put a new pot, do some things so that as customers are starting to come out of this fog that I think we've all been in for a while, we can start to kind of be ready to greet them with a fresh look. But I think it's going to be a very, very, very good season. I just still think we have a couple months ahead of us to get through.
Right. Yeah, Mike, I think you nailed it with the memberships part. And we've seen a big difference with the salons that have been able to open that have memberships and that ability to count on revenue. And what's amazing is the salon customers are willing to support that too. From the salons who I'm talking to, they're, people are not looking to cancel. They're happy to support small and local business, which we all are, and happy to do what they can for our own benefit. So
it's a win-win for sure. It's a win-win.
And I can't speak loudly enough about being able to kick the kids off to school. So we're
I'm with you on that. I agree with that 100%. Mike, you said something about renovations. What have you done in your stores over the course of the last 6 months when it comes to freshening them up?
So we've done some simple things. In some salons, we've just given a fresh coat of paint. One salon, the doors were a little beat up. We had those 6-panel doors. We went to a flat door with the big Euro style numbers on the doors. We put in new flooring. It's as easy as just laminate flooring, like a vinyl flooring glued down over the tile. And so when customers come in, it's a fresh look and it gives it a good pop. In another location, we just moved some equipment because we have a few locations we're able to do that. So we just moved some fresh equipment. We've spruced up our pitch pads to let customers see that we've been busy while we've been closed. So simple things. In another location, I just got some new vases. I got some of those tall vases with just some simple things to stick out of it, different colors. So just when it comes in, it's not like we've just been sitting around. We've done some things to welcome them back. So that's what we've done.
Yeah, and I think you touched on the social media, which is key. And I've got Lisa as part of our panelists, and I'll share a dirty little secret. I was TikToking prior to this and just laughing my ass off. Pardon the phrase, but Lisa's just done a phenomenal job in engaging her team members to kind of be live on TikTok, and it's been super engaging, Lisa. So,
and it's tough. It's not easy, Nick. I mean, for old guys like me, I can't do it. I mean, I can't. I don't know. I love scrolling through stuff, but I'm not. So it's challenging, and so we certainly have to work at it or get somebody that's good at it. But those that are good at it need to get on it because it's fundamental in what in the next phase of making sure we're successful, right? So.
Yeah,
Mike, I think you would go viral on TikTok, just for the record.
I don't know.
Lisa, how did you engage your team members and your salon?
Oh,
do that?
I know. I was like, can I go before Mike next time? He stole all my good stuff.
Oh.
Now I'm going to rewrite my whole entire thing. So for me, I have a great group of girls that work for me that really we were missing each other when we couldn't see each other in person during the closure. Decided to come up with some fun things for ourselves. We put a team in charge of our social media. They begged for me to let them be on TikTok. I just said as long as they didn't ever make me have to do it. They designed it all up, and it really kept us engaged with each other, not realizing how much the clients appreciated it, to the point that the messages came in by the hundreds and hundreds of them being engaged, and the well wishes and please keep taking my payments, and we'll get onto that when it comes to the EFTs. But I just really kept my team connected, as well as this added benefit of keeping the clients really connected, knowing their names, knowing what they were doing, even outside of, and my clients were really worried about us. They were worried on how we were doing. So they got to see the smiles on the girls' faces and know that they were doing just fine. And that was important.
Yeah, you and your team have done a phenomenal job on it, and it's certainly a lot of fun to watch. And for anybody who's not on TikTok, I know you share some of it through your Instagram as well. And feel free, everybody, to jump online and like and comment. But one of the things you spent a lot of time in during this pandemic break is by diversifying and adding some equipment, primarily on the wellness side. What equipment did you bring in, and what have you found the results to be?
Yeah, we were very fortunate that we were on a path before the closure. And I just want to, recognize again, in BC, we have been very lucky, and there's lots of salons back east that you guys, you're going to open with a vengeance. It was crazy about thinking about everybody. But before the closure, we had already started this path of, it started with my husband on our 25th Perfect Tan anniversary, said like, hey, how much longer are you going to keep doing this? Are you ramping it up or winding it down? And I was like, what do you mean? I want to do this forever. So decided that we probably needed to diversify and decided to go more into a tanning wellness, which has always been my priority, but also bringing in added value for those tanning clients. Thinking that I'd done it all wrong because they spent all that money and then the closure hit, not realizing that it probably saved our business when we opened back up again. The diversification of always keeping to be UV tanning focused in the front of our industry is really what we do, and making sure we don't lose that. Not just because we want to look good, feel great, but I think the vitamin D factor and all of that has to kind of go into it. We added some pods. So started with the cocoon wellness pod and the hydration pod, and also the red light therapy, which we had done before and brought it in, and it was borderline successful, but putting it into an EFT to added value blew our minds. So we actually, through the pandemic and coming out of it, this last year, have had more signups and less cancellations. So we know we're always playing that tricky game to keep our numbers high between new client signups to cancellations. And through these, what we would call crazy times, we had our least amount of cancellations that we've ever had. And I think that the key of that was that diversification, having to be giving them more. So if they, even though spray tan and UV tanning and the wellness, which would be the pods and the red lights, is all part of the package, if they're not tanning because they don't have an event to go to, or they're not spray tanning, they had all these other things that they could do, which made them not cancel. So the individual session, the in-store sessions definitely took a hit, the in-store sales, but the EFTs were phenomenal. We brought in red light, which is probably my favorite thing that we brought in, bringing in, which you see behind me, is the red light prestige bed, and phenomenal, best thing we've done. So integrating that into the system, the pods just give value. And back on to what I'm sure we all think, and I think Mike had said it as well, is being another place to go. You always want to be, I always say what we do when they are in the room by themselves, whether they're tanning, having a pod, having a red light, having spray tan, is the smallest part of what we do. It has to start from the minute they walk in the door to the minute they leave. And it's changing their day. And that's been our philosophy from the day I opened. We need to be the best part of their day, which means that they go out into their world, no matter what service they did, and can be better in the rest of their day. So for us, what's happening in that room is just the tiniest percentage of what they do, but we needed to give them more. We needed to give them more. So that's kind of what we did. Nick, do you have any other thing? Yes, Sarah?
Oh, sorry, Lisa. I'll let you wrap up if you were. I just had there's a bunch of stuff happening in the chat that I'd like to tackle later. Nick, keep going though.
No, and the other thing I was just going to say on to the training is we're huge in training, obviously, making sure that our staff are all on the same page, that we do everything exactly the same with our own personalities. And Sarah from Uvelux was a huge help to us. She did trainings for us that I could spend to my staff. And it was, I honestly, as much as I want to see everybody in person, I don't want that to change. I want some really great things that came out of this insane year. I want to find the positives and the benefits. And that's one of the things that I would say just blew my mind out of the water that I don't ever want to change. So thanks, Sarah.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. You're such a sweetheart.
What great feedback, Lisa. And you, like me, as serial optimist, and always trying to find, what's the golden lining in all of this, and certainly being able to connect with salon owners like this and have Sarah's in our like training room. We have a specific room now that's only Sarah's room.
My studio.
Yeah, it's totally her studio. And just being able to rely on technology to stay connected with salon owners across the country. But I couldn't agree with you more on the escapism of what we provide people. And I think we will take for granted the fact that many parents and have been locked at home and stuck at home with their kids, and we see it in the golf course and how busy that they are, and it's just a little bit of escapism for people to have a place to go that they can be socially distant and be fine and comfortable. And I think as we come into the summer season, certainly a big message that we should be pushing on social media is giving people that peace and quiet, that spot to go and spot to have a little me time.
Nick, can I add to that as well? I noticed in the chat, a lot of people are asking what EFT stands for, and it stands for electronic fund transfer. And a couple of people have said, they've tried it, but it hasn't worked in the past for them. And I know that we have some people on the panel that have been running EFTs for a really long time. Do you have any comments or anything? I'll start maybe with Mike, if that's okay. In regards to people introducing EFTs that have maybe introduced it in the past and it hasn't worked for them?
So yeah, it can be tough because so we've been doing it since, like Lisa, since about 96 is when we started. Lisa, I think, said she was 94. And so the trick really is not just thinking, okay, I'm going to offer it. It's really the way it's packaged and the way it's bundled. It's not just about saying you can tan unlimited. If it's not working, you're pricing probably a little bit too high. You're not doing enough to keep the customers and to retain them. When I explain EFTs to anybody, I always try to explain like the keel on the boat. The bigger the boat, the bigger the keel, less rocking during the off season. So it minimizes your min and max flows of income throughout the year. So we could be slow, but we still have income. So the biggest trick is if it didn't work for you, you need to really do research. I can certainly say you go to a franchise, but that would be so far. I won't say that. But that's not what I'm here for today. But you want a system. And the reason I'm saying Uvelux's system is because it's a system. You need to develop something. It's not just about talking to your credit card provider and saying, okay, here, I can submit a credit card or a check. There is a system and a process. There's a learning curve to it. And so if you started doing it and it didn't work and you gave up, you rather than refine the system and tweak it to make it successful, because, and I'm reading chats throughout all of North America, EFT is what's keeping businesses afloat right now because it's been slow. So we automatically open now, like I said, in July, we'll open with income on July 1st or July 2nd, immediately, before a customer walks in the door. And customers, some people might think, well, I feel like I'm ripping off my customers or I'm taking money and they're not attending. I want you to think of it as a car payment or a gym membership, although it's different, but that's similar to that. If you don't drive your car for a week, you don't call the car payment and say, well, hold on a sec, I didn't drive my car. I'd really like that week back. You're paying for access to the car. And like us, you're paying for access to the facility. So anybody that does EFTs, the clients understand they're paying to have access when they want to come in, they will come in. And they understand, just like many of us that have gym memberships, if we don't get to the gym, we don't call them and say, you guys took, we understand that we're paying for access and some of us choose to use it more than others. So it's a great system, electronic funds transfer, PAP, pre-authorized payment. Some banks will call it a PAD form, a pre-authorized debit. So however you call it, it's basically customers paying monthly automatically for your services. If it didn't work, you gave up too early, your system wasn't tweaked properly, or you didn't get the right advice on how you should run it.
Yeah,
I also think that people's mindset on EFTs have really evolved over the last, decade, right? Everything is a monthly payment, right? So I think depending on when you introduced it or started it, really look back on that and analyze where we were in the world, right? So something just to add to it.
Yeah, I can't tell you the number of subscriptions I have and what's paid monthly. It's so common these days, and that's where most people are cutting cable as an example and starting to really kind of pick and choose what they like. So the world has certainly evolved into more of a subscription or monthly kind of payment system. And we dedicated 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, to have Leanne, and Leanne's one of our longtime Uveluxers, and her only and primary job is to help people, kind of structure a membership system within their salons. And so she's spent the last 3 years just consulting to salon owners. So anybody who's in the chat who's not aware, just put your hand up, or Sarah can help, and or I see Lauren's in the chat. Email Lauren or email Elaine, and we'll be happy to hook you up as best we can.
If I could add one thing about the EFTs, when you're structuring price-wise is huge, very important. Making sure that it's not something that if they don't use it for 1 month, that they automatically want to cancel. But I think the most important thing is how you sell it. It is really important to be upfront, transparent, and honest from the very beginning. Make sure that your staff all know exactly where your price points are and how you decided to get them there. All of my staff know how many months and sessions you kind of need to make it worth it, and how many after that are free. We say right from the very beginning, we know we probably won't see you in the summertime. We want to, we're still here, but we have added into that. We have taken that into consideration when we came up with our pricing, to know that you're going to have months that you tan a lot more, months that you don't see us as much. And I'm really straightforward. If you are the type of person that cannot handle seeing that money come out of your bank account on a time that you're not using it, this isn't for you. And honestly, almost talk them out of it to the point that they're knowing, please, please, please let me be on it. Right? And that has been huge for us. So be honest, be transparent, know the details, make sure that your staff are trained, and literally say, hey, if it feels better for you to pay $100 for that instead of 26 because you cannot handle seeing it come out in September when September's too busy, hey, I totally get that. I totally understand where you're coming from. And that means this isn't for you. We have lots of other options for you to do. We just know that 80% of our clients think this is the best option. Changing it to a more honest, transparent sales point, stop people from asking to hold, stop people from wanting to cancel. But the most important thing is stopping them from thinking they don't have value. Because no matter what, if they're not canceling, but they don't feel value, it's still not helping you. You need them to feel value. And so it's all about how you sell it to make sure that they feel value.
Yeah, I've always believed in, in any membership, it's easy in and easy out. So don't make them jump through 18 million hoops in order to come out of that. So Sarah, I saw you were busy on answering a couple of questions. Is there anything we want to bring up, or?
Kelsey did have a question for Mike. I apologize, as I'm like trying to look at chat, I don't always have my ear open. So if this has already been answered, my apologies. This one was kind of directed at Mike or anyone on the panel who supports EFTs. It's kind of like, how did you handle any clients who were potentially unhappy about being charged through a closure? Kelsey says, I only have a few EFT clients and they threw a fuss about being charged for 3 months of closures. So I agree that not charging them or following to closure, it's getting a little congested here. She says, I'm hoping to refine our EFT system and hopefully gain new members. So just basically like, how were you able to overcome that process if you guys were kind of charging through those down months?
Sure. So for us, we didn't. So the 1 month, our Hamilton, Burlington locations, we closed, I believe it was on the 10th. So we had actually processed people's payments on the 1st. So we did get a couple of emails about that, not many. So what we'll do is when we reopen, we will credit those people or give them times. So you're always, again, to Lisa's point, many people, and the reason some people don't buy it and some people don't sell it is they've had this bad feeling where a gym screwed them or something happened and they feel like it's really got to be, again, to Lisa's point, transparent and comfortable. So what we did during the closure is we've stopped our EFT. So again, I'll go back to our Toronto locations. We have not withdrawn EFT since November. Nothing. We've completely stopped it. If you did charge it, I would say that the customers are right. You need to A, refund them or give them more value in tanning. So if they had paid for 3 months at a certain bed or a certain level, I would say we'll give you 4 months of the higher level so you can retain the funds as opposed to having to refund everybody. But absolutely, the customers are right. I wouldn't want if I was paying, again, I'm going to tie it to a gym because it's very relatable. If the gym kept taking my money and didn't, and I think Good Life had a lot of problems, they tried that early on. And so, yeah, you need to run it. You can't think of it as I'm just going to keep taking customers' money, because we always think, and I'm sure Lisa will say the same thing, think of it from the customer's point of view. If we were that customer, how would I feel being sold this product? We often forget that. We walk in a store, but when we're selling, we forget, we think, oh, we're just going to sell this away. So I'm sorry, I'm a long-winded talker. I'll try to shrink it right down. I'll try to shrink it down. The customers are right to answer the person that had asked the question. The customer should not be charged. If they were, you need to try to offer them more value. But if they insist and say, I need that money back, we would refund.
Totally. Thank you, Mike. And if I can add one thing, I know my personal experience, this wasn't related to our industry, but like I go to a very small fitness studio and they opted to continue to charge us even when the studio was closed. But there was really open communication that said, hey, like, don't worry, this will be a credit of time on your account. At any point you want to take a break on payments, hey, you're going to, not have to pay for 3 months. It was still there waiting for you. And I was happy to still be paying that because it meant that that small business that I enjoy and I want to keep going back to would still be open on the other side. I was like, yes, you can have my money. Please still be open in 3 months, sort of thing, right? So it's okay. Yeah. And it came down to communication and not being dodgy and giving people back what they initially paid for, right? So it worked out good.
No, perfect. Hey, hi Gail. Nice to see and hear from you. Gail dropped a quick question, and she was talking about raising her prices on her memberships as she hasn't adjusted or raised her price for about 3 years. Between Rachel, we haven't heard a lot from Rachel, Lisa and Mike, what are your thoughts on price increases at this time? And customers should be sympathetic, or do you feel like it would jeopardize your membership? I know, Rachel, you spent a lot of time during the pandemic adjusting pricing. Maybe this is best suited for you.
So I'm going to go back because I think the question that started this all is, what are EFTs? And they worked for me and I stopped them. And I can really relate to that because we opened with minutes like everyone else did. You go to all the salons when you're going to go open a salon and you see people are selling points and they're selling minutes and they're doing this and they're doing that. And the tanning world has so many different ways to sell our product. So what we opened with was packages of minutes. You had 20, 50, 75, 100. Then we had more. Then it got into sessions and all of our wellness stuff. And all of a sudden, by the time you did a tour and you showed someone everything, it was just really overwhelming. And then we're like, on the side, if you're really hardcore, you can get this membership. And they never really did truly the way that they should have. It was a massive leap. Last January, we went to New York and we learned from an American salon who said, if you're not completely doing EFTs and having like one set of minutes, you're doing it wrong. And we were like, we would have to be closed and completely reopen for people to forget what Bronzebacks was before and what we are doing. And then the pandemic happened and I actually got to launch Bronzebacks 2.0. Now, doing memberships within that, and we had 50,000 clients that we had to be like, remember us before? We don't do any of that. And it was very hard for us to wrap our heads around it. All the memories are coming back up now of the first closure and when we were redoing everything, and it was like ground zero here of completely revamping to be membership only. Well, trying to be membership only. We still have like one package and one single drop-in. You can't buy sessions. The thing that I came back to was I watched a lot of videos on YouTube of gym owners survive off of this. And you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So we found a lady in Ireland and we watched all of her YouTube videos. All of my staff had to watch them before we reopened. And it was how to sell a membership completely foolproof. And they were fantastic. So I would just watch videos. All of these, like there are very hustling, hardworking fitness owners that have done a lot of work here to really help you. But one of the biggest things that they came out with is said, have 3, max 4 choices. So if you're going to revamp your pricing, you've got one that you put the most emphasis on that says, this is our most popular option. And it has to be the Cadillac. It has to be the one that you want everyone on. And so if you sit down and you do your value based on that and your value is higher, like our unlimited membership is $149 a month, or we don't call it unlimited. We use the word daily access. It was really, we had a few things we had to change with our speak. I can't believe the word unlimited just came out of my mouth because we really don't use that word. Another thing that was very successful in launching our memberships is using video to explain it quickly. So you have one video that shows all of your services and maybe it's 5 minutes long and it shows everything with you. Hire a videographer. They are the best investment, showing your entire business. And then one that is like a minute, 90 seconds to 2 minute max that breaks down your membership process so that it's something on your website. It's something you can always share. It's something we hand it to our guests when they sign up in their initial waiver, and they have to watch the videos before they sign up. So those are just a couple of things that help me be successful with my membership program that I never did before. And it's totally different now. So hopefully that.
And so I think, Gail, your fear in adjusting prices or adjusting your packages, certainly right now, this is, if of any time, this is the most ideal time to kind of take an opportunity to refresh that. And yeah, there's resources online, or feel free to drop us a line. And Leanne is happy to walk through and break down packages. Her general motto is she's killing minutes one salon at a time, minutes, points, sessions. Like just really trying to evolve and change the industry. I'm gonna pivot for a quick second. Lisa, you talked a lot about red light, and one of the things we were able to do at Uvelux during this time is kind of, we updated a lot of back ends, a lot of systems, but we really kind of pushed forward through to add some new products to our mix as well. Brendan, do you want to maybe spend a few minutes and talk about what your favorite features of our new blush lamp that we just launched?
Sure. So during the pandemic, I just echo a little bit of everybody else was talking. We had, obviously a shutdown. Now we're ramping back up, and we had some major logistics challenges, and we're still going through it. But one good thing about the pandemic, it gave us some time to slow down and kind of see what was working for us, do a lot of business analysis. And right before the pandemic, Nick had been over in Germany with our German colleagues, looking at new equipment and different ideas with my boss and the up and ups, getting free dinners like usual. And and he saw a product that they had just come out with in Europe, which was a new type of tanning lamp that incorporates a little bit of red into it. And it's not a red lamp per se, it's a tanning lamp that incorporates a little bit of red into it. Nick is calling it the blush lamp, and we just debuted it how many months ago? About a month and a half, 2 months ago now. And it's the only lamp on the market like it. There are others out there that are saying that they have lamps that are similar or do the same things, and it's not true because we know how they're made. Nix is the only one that used the technology from Europe. It's actually it's our most revolutionary lamp that we've come out with since the 9K90, and for Uvelex to be the exclusive beneficiary of that is something really exciting, especially for the Canadian market. Obviously, it was a long time to put together, a testing process to find out what worked. We worked hand in hand with Nick and his team, sending out the samples from Europe from our plant many times, checking the mixes, see how it worked, and we finally came to a solution with a deluxe phosphor blend, which, if everybody doesn't know, phosphor is actually what makes the lamp go. It's what makes the output the output. So I see the sunless guy shaking their head. You don't know what I'm talking about. You guys just spray people. So
Everybody welcome Jacob to the panel, by the way.
That's what I was looking at. I saw him like agreeing. Yeah. But the phosphor is what makes it go, and that's what makes this lamp unique. There's nothing else with the phosphor blend that we use. And what it does is it adds to the already potent blend that we use for tanning that you have experienced with the VHR 9K90s, the TTs, and the regular VHR that are, hallmarks of the business. It adds a little bit of red phosphor into it. And the red phosphor is a unique blend that not only does it have output in the 620 nanometer range, which is what typically comes out of a red lamp, but it also has some function in the ultraviolet, the infrared, the infrared up around the 700 nanometer range. So that was what makes it completely unique. And what that does, it keeps up the long-lasting tan. It's very unique tanning experience, not only from the visual of it, but the feel of it. When you come out of the booth or the bed, you're going to feel almost like a refreshing type of tan experience. And I know Nick and some of his team had mentioned that too. So that's just not me BSing with everybody. That's actual feedback that we've had from people. And it's just a smooth, refreshing, long-lasting tanning experience. So I could go on and on, but I could go into but I'm also going to be in a breakout session afterwards too. So if anybody has any specific questions, please, swing by and I'll be happy to explain it.
Yeah, if you got specific questions on the blush lamps or lamps in general, make sure you connect up with Brendan from in his breakout room. And buddy, I appreciate all the accolades, but I saw him. I was like, is this a tanning lamp? Will this fall by Health Canada rules? If it is, I want it. And then very quickly put it into Elaine's hands, and more importantly, Rodney's hands. And this thing wasn't coming in unless it was Rodney approved. And as you said, we went through a couple different varieties and iterations of it until we found something that he was happy with. So
yeah, and a good point, Nick. And that being said, with it being a tanning lamp, it does follow all compatibility rules here in the U.S. and up in Canada.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
There was a question in the chat just about what wattage they come in. We have them in 100 and 160 watts. Okay.
Thanks, Elaine. So Jacob is here. Jacob made it. Jacob, you want to say hi and maybe a couple quick words about yourself?
Hey, everybody. Sorry for running late, but it was for a good cause. My name is Jacob. I work with Norvell. I help with education, Norvell University, sales, tech support on equipment. And I've been with the company about going on 7 years, and just arrived actually from Las Vegas. I flew literally back in this morning from a show, a big IBS Vegas show, ended up having nearly 10,000 people there. And we sold out first day of everything we brought other than like 3 body wash. And we were writing orders the entire time the next day. It was amazing. So it's really good to see the customers coming in like they are. And so many of them I talked to, they were like, I've got money. I want to spend it. You know, they've been saving money. We haven't been able to do anything. So it's just it's a blessing to see that the industry is kicking back up and new businesses starting and add-ons, a lot of add-ons. So that was it's a really good show. Thank you.
Hey, Jacob, what was the energy like? Like being in a trade show and kind of just getting a sense of people. Why don't you share some of your experience?
It was like the last IBS in New York I went to, like music blasting, people having a blast, they're running around. Few people had masks on, most didn't. Very relaxed atmosphere. We were spray tanning people 2 days solid, constantly. And just everybody just very interactive, and you could tell that, you know, we need that just as a person. So it was just really good to see it, and the energy was high level for the entire time. Like they had to like run people out of the building when they shut the lights off. It was that good.
That is so good. I can't wait to see people live again and not like through this. So I'm beyond jealous, my friend. So very cool. Hey Rach, I want to come back to you for a quick minute. And again, if there's any other questions, guys, feel free to keep them popping in the chat or into the question and answer. Just kind of looking at some. We can't spray tan faces with pandemic. I guess we can't spray tan people with masks on during the pandemic. These are really weird tan lines. So let's not do that. But anyways, Rach, what do you see in the next 5 years that we need to do as salon owners in order to be successful?
So look, this was when they asked me to be on the panel. I was like, okay, well, I really got to think about how I could help anyone, because as salon owners, we don't really talk to each other a lot. I'm lucky enough to be in a group chat with Lisa and Sally, and I think it keeps me right on track. So I think having a buddy in the tanning industry is really important. But I would never, claim to think I could know what people, I cope with progress. So I like to keep moving forward. So what I'm going to do for the next 5 years I was speaking with Elaine the other day so I've been doing this for 14 years now. And in the beginning, when I bought the very first tanning bed, the big tanning bed, because you have like the little level ones, and that was the way tanning was. So I thought, okay, you buy the one big tanning bed, and it was crazy to do at the time. And you sign the lease, and it's 3 to 5 years. And then you go, great, once I own those, I'm going to have no more tanning bed payments, and then it's all going to be gravy. And I thought that way up until probably 2 years ago. The biggest thing I think for the tanning industry is it's getting sad that we're still blowing people away with these big tanning beds. When people walk in and go, wow, this is tanning. I didn't know tanning was like this. I've never seen anything like this before. We're kind of getting like, really? Like, I think for the next 5 years, the real, businesses that stay, there's so many people so passionate about tanning and do so great at it. And if they were not scared of the $1,200 a month payment or the $600 a month payment, and then had the EFT program to kind of match it, and weren't afraid of the payments, and like Lisa has, our wellness has truly saved us. So there's days where I get out of bed and onto the ground and just thank God I changed to adding both. But I think the biggest thing is, like, you don't walk into malls and see 20-year-old clothes. You don't, go to the gym and get on a 20-year-old treadmill, or you're probably going to stop going to that gym unless it's free. And you're really motivated. But things have just changed so much. So I think for the next 5 years, I think growing with what the tanning industry really truly is. Even last year when I saw the P9 in New York, January of last year, we even thought at the time, like, ooh, that's too crazy, that's too flashy. Now I'm like, when can I have it? Like, give it to me now. Because when you really do invest in the equipment, and I now know for the rest of time, we will have tanning bed payments. It is, and a lot of them. And I will never delete that part of my balance sheet. I'll never pay off beds and then just sit, because there'll be another one that's on the hit list. Like even our iBeds. iBeds I thought were like the queen of all tanning beds for years. Now I'm like, those are the next ones to go. So I'm waiting till the 8000s and the P9s are available in Canada. So taking the leap to, like, I'll be real, salon owners want to know what's real. You know, having 5 brand new red light beds, you know, that's about 5,000 a month. So can you make your EFTs match your company for what you're going to be doing, to, like, when you're coming down to your pricing, doing that. So I think for the next 5 years, it's definitely going to be diversifying. I would rather see 3 amazing tanning beds than 8 old ones, and then building the value. Get a videographer, get some video, be excited about what you're purchasing. Even myself, I've been speaking with Sally, and she bought, I think, the 550 hybrid. So there's so much research, and there's so many resources, especially with Uvelux, to talk through these tanning beds. Like, these are huge purchases. Like, hello, a Prestige, Lisa, you're just like, oh yeah, I got a Prestige. Like, hello, we're talking about an $80,000 to $90,000 tanning bed here. You know, so I think, but going through, you don't have to go that high. We just got our first Prestige. I still don't completely understand it. It's incredible. It's also, it's really neat. But, you know, for Sally, who got a 550, and all of the work, that effort in, that she put into that bed, and how much it's blowing her clients away, I really think just not being afraid. But I've said the same thing for 8 years. I wish salon owners weren't scared to take out their first 3 tanning beds, blow out the rooms, make a couple of beautiful rooms, and get 2 beautiful showpieces, and elevate the tanning industry. Because it's getting old being like, this is a 1050, and they've never seen, they don't know the difference, or, you know, the KBL 7900s, choosing your levels. I think that's exciting. That's what's going to happen in the next few years. And EFTs. Look, we don't call them EFTs. We call them passes. I call them pass holders. They're guests.
Yeah.
You know, I think EFTs sounds very like, yeah. However you want to see that, they're your VIPs. They're the ones you give the T-shirts to. They're the ones that go on your VIP email list, and they keep you going. There was one point that was earlier there about social media, and it's interesting because I'm 36 and I've been growing up with this whole social media thing, and social media, with all the things that we offer, is so hard. And the growth of Reels and the growth of TikTok, and I like life in the real world. I don't want to be on my phone. And I find it tough. And I think a lot of salon owners are very similar to myself. We're super passionate about this industry. We know what we can do with you if we got you for 15 minutes in our salon, but translating that into video in a TikTok or in a reel or in a IGTV or whatever it is tough. And I can really relate to that, because if you look at our Instagram right now, it doesn't reflect at all what we're doing in the stores. So I can say, over the last few months, we've really turned our wagons in, and we focus a lot on our in-studio experience. We focus on our mailing. Our email list has been incredible. And I think I just kind of came to the point where I can't do all the things, and that's okay. So maybe some days, just don't beat yourself up if your Instagram isn't perfect. If you're, you know, you do one awesome 30-second video, you put that on Facebook and you run an ad for 2 weeks on that, and you go, it's okay. You know, you grab a couple of coffee scrubs and you tell your girls, you know what, this is what we're going to talk about this week, and these are super cool. But I think it's tough as business owners where we've got to do all the things, but just be gentle with yourself. Do one thing, but I would highly recommend video.
Yeah,
Actually, I just have one more question for you. You recently just introduced red light to all of your stores. What was the main reason that you did that?
I think I'm like the biggest holdout in Canada on red light. I did everything else before red light, and everyone's like, is this girl gonna get with the program or what here? So I always said I would do red light when people asked for it. I said that in Banff at one of our salon councils. I think it was like 8 years ago. And you know, at that time it was like, is this a hokey? Is this a hoax? Is this going to work? They're selling products. I love selling products, but do I believe in this? And, you know, what happened is it really went into the beauty world hard. And then, you know, there was just, all of a sudden we had people asking about it. And because we have full spectrum infrared saunas, people were seeing the results from near infrared in our saunas on their skin, that the transfer over to red light really worked. But I'd never been in a Beauty Angel before. I bought 5 of them, and which is insane. That sounds insane to say that. Holy smokes, is that thing a vibe? Like, that thing sells your memberships like that. We have 4 memberships. So we have a lifestyle membership, spa and wellness, sunbeds only, and a spray tan pass. So we had all these people coming in for spa and wellness, and it still bothers me that it's like we say tanning and wellness. To me, tanning is like the original wellness because it's vitamin D. So I get really annoyed when I'm in there. I'm like, oh, you're just on a spa and wellness pass. Like, you're not actually getting full wellness. Like, you do know that.
Preach.
Right? I get like, so we kind of use our spa and wellness as like their gateway drug. Because then they walk past these shining bright lights of tanning beds and we're like 3 minutes. And they're like, okay. But we ended up putting red light in the lifestyle pass. And I'll give you an example. We just opened our 6th salon. What's been open now? What's today? It's Tuesday. So it's been open 13 days. All we have sold since we opened that salon is lifestyle passes. Normally at our other studios, but we put red light at the front. My other salons, I put red light at, the rooms I had were at the back. And putting red light at the front was so the ticket. We have 1 red light booth and I'm just going to stick with 1. But man, those things they're just such a vibe. I'm obsessed. I'm glad I waited to do it until it was all done correctly, all at once. I wish I hadn't have done all the work when we did our all access passes and completely revamped our pass system without red light. But it did also, we ended up upgrading 200 pass holders as soon as red light dropped to the lifestyle. So sorry, that's a lot, but that's red light. I love them. Beauty Angels. Bravo.
Yeah.
Love that. Thanks, Rach.
Amazing, Rach.
Yeah, I found the same thing with sunless units, and I'm kind of looking at both Jacob and Valerie. Typically, sunless units get stuck in the very back because it's closest to the washroom, and it's kind of unfortunate because it's so easy to run that piping that, for those who haven't put spray tanning in, whether it be a unit or a handheld, I highly promote seeing it up front because it's people see it and they walk right past it. So, it's that those first front rooms that we have, they're our showroom, and they kind of set the tone for our entire space. But love the tanning as wellness. I think I just trademarked that. So we have 7 minutes. In the last 7 minutes, I just want to kind of circle back to some of our vendors and kind of get a feel and a temperature based off of what you guys are hearing from our salon owners in Canada versus the US. So Maggie, I know you're having some Wi-Fi problems, but if you're here, why don't you chime in for a quick sec?
Hello? Am I working?
Yeah, we got you, Maggie. We got you. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. We're having thunderstorms here and my Wi-Fi has been not cooperating. So I've missed some of that, but it's so much great information. I've really enjoyed it, and I love hearing the different perspectives from everyone. But it does seem that the theme is overall very positive and very good, and the trends are all very positive for our industry. And one thing that I kind of wanted to piggyback on what everybody really touched on too is taking advantage with the people that are wanting to spend money. The wellness is a big thing right now, the body care products. Capitalize on being that small business, because we always talk about you support local, buy local. And it's nice to say, but I don't think anything ever before COVID really made that hit home with people. Because even if you're not a business owner and you're not an entrepreneur, maybe you have relatives you do, you have friends you do, you have neighbors that are, and you've seen them suffering and you know how hard all of this has been. So people more than ever before are aware, and they want to buy and support their local businesses and neighbors and community members. I hear that a lot from salons, that they have customers that come in and they're buying like the retail sunless or their body care products from them, where normally maybe they do it on Amazon or do it at a bigger store, but they're like, hey, we want to make sure you guys are doing okay. And I hear that a lot. So I think it's important to also hammer that home, whether it's on your social media or signage in your salon or emails to your best customers, like, hey, small business, we've got everything you need, please support us.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah.
So, but overall, this has been really entertaining. I'm really glad you guys put this together. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm very optimistic. I've been in this industry longer than I want to admit. And Nick, I think I even have you beat.
Yeah, it'd be close. It'd be close.
But 100% honesty, I haven't seen people this positive and this enthusiastic in over a decade. So it's really kind of given me a whole new, refreshed, revitalized look at things, and I'm excited to see what we've pulled through worse. We can pull through this. So.
Oh yeah, we have.
Sorry, that's interesting that you said that as well, because I know, last week talking to Jacob, I think it was him that mentioned this, or maybe it was Jason, I'm not quite sure, but just following up on all of the shows happening in the US and the fact that it's not virtual now, like you're able to get face to face, just that feeling of going to a show again, it makes you feel like the same feeling you had when you went to your first show, like just really excited about it. And that's one thing I'd have to agree with you 100% on, like just how much passion you get back, just getting people together and just having this conversation with this panel virtually is just amazing. So thank you guys all for attending. We truly appreciate all the valuable input and insight. So
yeah. So it's been absolutely amazing hour and a half, and we're down to 3 minutes. Just to remind everybody, uvolux.com/brunch is where all the links to all the breakout rooms, as well as the online auction. And Jason, do you want to have the last word and kind of share some of your thoughts on how today was and some of what you felt and heard?
What an honor. I will gladly take that last chance. But no, I mean, everyone has made such excellent points. And thinking about the next 5 years, let's focus back in on the professionalism of what our industry is. We've been talking about equipment. We've been talking about our experience, our memberships. Does your experience justify your price? We are a professional industry, skincare products from UV, red light, sunless. Let's present that environment to our customer. That's what justifies your price. That's what creates the value. Anyone can get the startup and open a salon, but it's the experience you offer your customers. And let's just dive back into who we are. And that really comes down to who we hire to work in our salons. I think for the next 5 years, we need to look for that professional. It's very attractive, of course, to get that. I mean, gosh, it's who I was, like new in my career path, but that's always an attractive person too. But let's elevate our staff level. I mean, sometimes we hire people just to get that body in there to keep the salon open, but who we have working there is, again, a representation of your investment, your business, your environment, your vibe, as Rachel was saying. So invest it where you're going to gain that back. And one last thing to touch on that too, with the equipment and thinking about just remodeling, painting, we all lease our cell phones now. I mean, that's just the day and age. And at that show we were at a few weeks ago, I was thinking about, you don't see anybody walking around with a flip phone. And if you think about the client that you're going to welcome in that has maybe never tried a sunbed before, will they want to use my mom's sunbed, or will they want to use that P9? What's going to draw in that new client? And the technology advancing is definitely a great way to kind of welcome in that new customer. And again, bring back in that energy. And one last thing too, Lisa really drove this home, and I just got to hit it too, consistency, especially with EFTs. Keep it simple, keep it short, but consistent. Make sure the whole staff is presenting everything the same. So that way, again, the customer is getting the same information. So they trust you, they know you, and they want to sign up. It's kind of like if you went on a first date and you're like, hey, Elaine, after our first date, you want to move in together? Oh, I've never been to your business. Yeah. Do you want to sign up for a year? You've never been here before. You've never met me, but will you sign up for a year? You got to make sure you make them feel knowing that they can trust you. And again, that your business will be there to support them. But overall, I could talk for hours, but thank you guys for having us here. This is the place to be. Our industry is very unique, but also too, we're kind of all going through the same thing as well too. So we've got a lot to learn from everyone else in this. And the main thing is to keep the momentum going. Once we open the doors and the customers start coming back, it's really easy to get caught up in the excitement, but we got to focus on not getting back to some of these situations again and just continue to learn from them. So thank you guys for having us on here. We really appreciate it. And again, thank you, Uvolux, for all the support you've given to the salon owners to maintain the positivity, focus on what we can control, not what we can't. And we're going to keep moving forward. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jason. I have one last request. everybody, for everyone, Rachel has asked us all to smile so she can take a photo for our social media. Let's hope she's paying attention.
You're Rachel.
No, it's our Uvalux. I want to thank all of our industry panelists for being here. Certainly want to say thank you to our salon owner panelists for being here, and our 100 and some odd attendees that we peaked at. I think there was a tremendous amount of value here, and I think, to the Uvalux team, I think, we've got to try to do what we can to keep this momentum going and keep panels and keep information sharing like this moving forward, because I think there's a tremendous amount of value. So remind everybody to hit the breakout rooms to hit the live auction. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But once again, thank you so very, very, very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for
Bye,
having us,
everyone.
Nick.
All right, guys, before anybody leaves, just a quick reminder, I've been spamming the chat with the link to uvalux.com/brunch, which is where you're going to see all the information about the online auction. If you haven't registered for 32 auctions yet, to go there, as well as all the breakout rooms. Mine isn't live just yet, but we'll be there with Jessica in just a few minutes. And just a quick reminder, there's been a lot of emails coming through where people weren't able to bid on the auctions yet. The auctions have yet to go live. They will go live at 11:30 a.m. Pacific and 2:30 Eastern, which is right about now. So start your engine, start your bidding, good luck. Thank you to all of our panelists. Sorry to punch it in there at the end, but I was spamming my phone like crazy. So,
Perfect.
thanks, guys.
Great job, everybody. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank y'all.